Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to League Racing TV here for round number 9 of the Masters League Formula 2 Championship. I am, of course, Mike, going to be taking you through the action. Tonight we go racing at the Temple of Speed. It's Autodromo Nacionales Monza, first featured in 1950, and it is a 5.7, almost a 5.8 kilometer circuit in length. Of course, Monza, the Temple of Speed. Who is going to have the straight line speed here, and who is going to be able to get the runs out of corners, such as the Rettifilio, the first chicane, going through the Curva Grande? Who's going to be able to get through the Della Rosa chicane, the Lesmos, through Ascari and Parabolica? Obviously iconic corners awaiting these drivers, and also very tricky because the curves can sometimes spit you out. They can chew you up and spit you out, and that is not what people want to see, but it does make for some exciting racing. So looking at the people who we have racing tonight, we have 15 drivers in so far. Hopefully we get a couple more in. Looking at the chat, we have Maze in the chat. What's going on, Maze? Charlie in the chat. How's it going, Charlie? And Dinand in the chat. But while we're waiting for everyone to ready up, I can take you through the standings of what happened last week. So of course we did see two incidents last week, obviously one being between Jelle Gleeson and Yaham. Now that was of course looked at, and that has meant that Jelle Gleeson has taken a penalty, which puts him behind Dan in terms of the race results. So the championship, it closes back up a bit. It is now down to 23 points. Jelle Gleeson out in the lead on 184 points, 161 for LRE Dan. Charlie, with an impressive win last time out, climbs up and he's in third on 142. Then we got his teammate Siege on 129, 125 for Legend, Powdy on 121, Dylan McGivern on 105, Yaham on 90. And then the two Haas boys rounded out the final spots from the top 10. Great Elmo on 72 and 70 for Evil Chris. See, looking at the team championships, Williams still lead the way with a commanding lead of 312, and the nearest rivals is Mercedes on 257. So there we go. It is a 55 point advantage so far for Williams and the constructors. McLaren there in third on 211, Alpine in fourth on 191. There's 161 for the Alfa Romeos in fifth. The Haas F1 team 142, Alfa Tauri on 108, the Ferraris on 71, 69 points for the Red Bulls, and of course 61 for the Aston Martin team, as it looks like everyone is beginning to ready up. So we will be going into qualifying. Not many races to go now in the championship. Of course, we have just a few races left in the season. If the standings are a little bit off for that, I can only apologise. I'm just going off what I can read by ear. But only 3 rounds to go in the championship. Of course, that includes tonight's race in Monza. Then of course next week we go to Sao Paulo for Brazil, and then the season finale in Bahrain. Unfortunately, guys, no James alongside me tonight. He has been called up again to fill in with WOR. So if you guys go check that stream out after you check this stream out, because obviously we want to show love to the commentators who commentate in this league as well. So obviously support James, support myself, support League Racing TV, support everything to do in League Racing. And of course, if you are hyped for Monza, make sure you hit that like button, as we got Dan in the chat saying, yo, Great Elmo has just joined the session. Charlie, don't believe Williams' points are right, as there's no way they gained 70 points last week. Mate, I don't know. I think if I remember correctly, obviously at the start of the season you were a reserve, so I don't know if your points early on counted to the total of Mercedes. So that's the thing, like, that's the one thing. So I don't know off the top of my head. Obviously, people will have to do more verification on it, but that's the standings I'm looking at right now, and that's the standings I'm dealing with. So we shall go with that. So Yellow Gleason will be the first man out on track. So let's go ahead and let's get all the telemetry and everything up. And we can take a little bit of a breather. Of course, it's been a great championship so far in F2. A lot of close racing and a good championship battle on our hands. Of course, as previously mentioned, only 3 races to go in the championship. Dan needs to continuously close in the gap on Yellow Gleason. I believe the gap is coming down, but is it coming down fast enough? That is the question. As we see Gleason on his out lap, and he will be taking us for a full flying lap of Monza. So we'll stay on board with Yellow Gleason as we go around the 5.7, almost 5.8 kilometer circuit here in Italy, as we come through Parabolica, trying to get a good exit to launch him onto his flying lap, and now it's full throttle. Wait for the DRS point to come through, and here we go. DRS is now activated. Well over 200 miles an hour as we approach the Rettifilio chicane into turns 1 and 2. Braking just before the 100-meter board. Second gear for Yellow Gleason there. Needs a good traction out the Rettifilio, and he is able to get that good traction. Now through Curva Grande, taking a nice and tight line, minimizing the distance towards the Della Rocha chicane. As we look at this first sector split, it's a 26.2 as we break down into the Della Rocha chicane, clipping both of the curves, getting good traction on the exit there for Yellow Gleason. As we go into the Lesmos, a very difficult corner, else you get dragged out wide for the first part of the Lesmo, and then through the second part of the Lesmo, it's really good to launch yourself down this DRS straight, but it's also crucial because you can really get a bit of wheel spin and lose it as we fly down towards Ascari, braking just after the 100-meter board, 5th gear as we go through Ascari and avoiding that inside curve. That is going to be crucial on the exit of Ascari, avoiding that inside curve, and now down towards Parabolica, around about the 50-meter brake marker board, braking down, 5th gear up, shifting through slips. We saw a little bit of a wiggle there from Yellow Gleason, and that's the danger of Parabolica. Now across the line, it's going to be a 19.8 to set us underway here in qualifying from Yellow Gleason. Charlie crosses the line in behind on the set of the mediums, goes on the 20.5. Evil Chris on the 20.4. As I believe Dan there responding immediately, obviously looking to try and close up in this championship. He's put on provisional pole with a 19.7. So Dan is looking to play here tonight. Yaham, what could have been from Yaham last week in Kota, he's going to be looking to make up for it here tonight as he crosses the line, and it's a 19.5. Yaham setting down the benchmark. And the thing is with Yaham, he definitely is looking decent in terms of qualifying. It's just the race where it all seems to go wrong, and the same for his teammate Will Powdy as well, who had a nice little tow from Yaham down Rettifilio chicane. So now through Curva Grande, let's see what that tow has done for Powdy as we look at the first sector split. It's a 26.2. So it's a little bit too much curb through the second part of the Della Rocha chicane, and that definitely would have compromised him just a little bit. Lost a bit of time there, did Real Powdy, but through the Lesmos he'll go, and decent traction coming out of the Lesmos. DRS wide open now on the run down in towards Ascari. 53.1. As we go through Ascari, didn't look as committed as what we've seen so far through Ascari, but it is going to be a valid lap time, and that is what Powdy wants. He doesn't want to be losing confidence early on here in qualifying. But let's see as he drifts out wide through Parabolica, but not too wide. That he keeps it all on track, and it's going to be a 20 flat. As we got Roygard now, next man to cross the line, coming through Parabolica. He's going to keep it tight on the exit to the line, and it's going to be a 0.4 for Roygard, so he's getting himself up there. Dylan McGivern. It's been a difficult few races for Dylan, not what he would have wanted in terms of results, but in terms of the constructors, it's looking rosy for Williams. As we go through the Rettifilio chicane. Now through Curvagonde and up towards the De La Rocha chicane. It's a 26.1. Oh, as he takes a lot of that curve there. And you just see how the curve can really unsettle the car on the exit if you take a bit too much of it, which is what we just seen from Dylan. Definitely a little bit of time loss there from the Williams driver, but good exit out of the Lesmos. And now DRS wide open, running down to Ascari. 215 miles an hour indicated. Not sure what that is in kilometers, but pretty scruffy through Ascari there from Dylan. Definitely lost a lot of time there as we come down towards Parabolica. Nice line through there from Dylan. He's going to keep it tight, minimise the distance, and it's going to be a 19.7. There's definitely more time on our lap from Dylan. Definitely very cautious through Ascari, sorry. As Atlas Coco is going to start his lap. He is on the set of the medium compound tyres. Just over 10 minutes to go in qualifying. It's currently Yaham out on top with a 19.5. Just over a tenth ahead of Dylan McGivern, who is currently on the front row, who's marginally ahead of the championship challenger LRE Dan, who is just ahead of his championship rival, the championship leader Yele Gleason. They are the only times in the 119s so far. Dan is coming out of the pits once again to start a new lap. He does have a McLaren in behind him, who I believe is Powdy, who's just coming out on a lap, on an out lap, as well as Atlas Copo through Ascari. Oh, a big slide on the exit there, and that has definitely compromised Atlas Copo, as he is not looking too confident through Ascari just yet. Now through Parabolica, and it's a decent exit through Parabolica, but that Ascari mistake definitely would have cost him some time. And he's going to cross the line, and he's up into P10 on the set of the mediums. I think we'll stay on board with Evo Chris, because he's coming to the line, but I was going to jump on board with Dan, because Dan needs a big result here to try and close up in this championship battle. As Evo Chris actually comes into the pits, as Powdy's actually ahead of Dan on track, so we'll actually stay on board with Dan for this lap. We'll go on broadcast camera as well, and we'll take the timings and everything off. So let's have a look now as Dan flies down into the Rettifilio chicane of turn 1 and 2. DRS there closing in the break-in as we go through the Rettifilio, now approaching Curva Grande. We saw a little tiny wiggle at the rear through the exit, but able to keep it all together as the first sector. He's marginally down as he approaches the De La Rocha. Takes a lot of the inside curve and he has a fantastic run there through the De La Roja, now through the Lesmos, using as much of the track as he can. Oh, that's lovely. This is looking good from Dan so far. DRS wide open once again as we run down in towards Ascari. And look at that, he's over at 10th up, and oh, there's the invalidation through Ascari, just taking a little bit too much, and that is Powdy that has gone off as well through Ascari. So both Powdy and Dan not having the best of times with Ascari there, but plenty of opportunity for them to go again. In fact, now we'll go on board with Charlie. Tenth and a half up through sector 1. Obviously, Charlie has switched off those medium tyres and he's put on a set of the Red Bull soft tyres. Looks like he is potentially keeping a set of fresh softs for the race. Could be a very smart play for Charlie if a safety car comes out later on in the race itself. But let's have a look and see what the time gained, and he is half a second up through the middle sector, taking quite a lot of the inside curves through Ascari, and now it's all about the run down in towards Parabolica. Oh, again very close to the back of that track limits, and he improves and he goes up into P5. Track limits were very close there for Charlie as Dan improves. Oh my god, where does that come from? Dan with a 19.3. What a lap there from LRE Dan. Yaham, can he respond? He's marginally up in the first sector. Yaham now needs to find an extra. Ooh, it's got to be a 2.5 tenth gain for Yaham at the minimum. And oh, he's lost it on the curb on the exit of the second Lesmo. Oh. Heartbreaking there for Yaham. Sygate gets himself going again. You got Roygard who's invalidated. He's getting himself going. You got Evo Chris getting himself going. And I think Roygard might have invalidated this next lap. Evo Chris comes into the pit lane. Sygate and Atlas Copo are the only ones on flying laps right now, so we're still on board with Atlas Copo, keeping it in 6th gear there, but you can see how much you have to turn the car in. Definitely doesn't look confident in that middle sector with the Lesmos, but DRS is wide open. We run down to the second sector split. He is about a 10th up. This can get him around the top 10. Atlas Copo. Sygate though, Sygate is well off his time he has set previously, so Atlas Copo could potentially improve and go up into P10 through Parabolica. He goes to the line, and there's a big improvement there, jumps himself up into P7, so a good lap there from Atlas Copo, 4 times clear of Evo Chris in behind. Roygard, I think he's setting some laps, getting a bit of confidence around here, shall we say. About 3.5 minutes to go here in qualifying, as it is Dan currently out on top in this session. 19.3 ahead of Yaham in second place on a 19.5. Then of course we've got the Williams pairing of Dylan McGivern and the championship leader Jelle Gleeson in 3rd and 4th, 19.7 and 19.8 for both of them. And another 19.8 for FRL Charlie. Powdy is currently in 6th on a 1:23 flat. Of course, we've got Atlas Copo also doing that, as it looks like I have been disconnected from the chat. You said this is why I can't have the stream open at the same time. It's terrible. It is terrible, guys. Well, let's have a look here. So we have Powdy out on track. He is on his outlap, so we'll stay on board with Powdy, because Powdy will be the first one to set a lap time. He has given himself, a bit of a buffer just in case he does invalidate, which is good to see. Powdy preparing just in case it doesn't plan out for him, but he's going to get himself underway now to start his qualifying lap. It could be his one and only qualifying lap, but we shall see. Through turn 1, a lot of traffic there for Powdy to look out for. Again, more traffic for Powdy as we come through the Lesmos, and I think he's mistimed it when he has come out of the pits to do his final runs, but we'll see what he's saying in the middle sector split. Oh, he's marginally down, but Ascari's waiting game time. Nah, it's too cautious, but he's going to get a bit of a tow from his teammate Yaham. And Yaham's going to get the return tow down the straight. So there we go, the McLarens working together as Powdy will cross the line. Is this going to be an improvement for Powdy? No, it's not. But he's going to give a fantastic tow to his teammate into turn 1. Yaham now has everything to do. He's had a fantastic tow from his teammate. The first sector split, he's a 10.5 up, and that's more like it. But he misses the apex, and oh, that is a terrible De La Rocha chicane from Yaham. Dan elected to not come out of the pits, so it's not looking good for Dan. Meanwhile, you got Dylan, who is in front of his teammate. He's 4 tenths down. Yellow Gleason is a 10.5 up. Oh, track limits were being flirted with there between Yellow Gleason and the exit of Ascari as we come through Parabolica for the final time. Yellow Gleason, can he get himself up onto the front row? Can we have both our championship combatants on the front row? No, he cannot. It is going to be P3 unless Charlie can do something about it. Can Charlie get himself onto the front row? There we go. The checker flag has fallen. Dan is the man out on top here in qualifying, but can Charlie get himself up there on the front row? No, he cannot, but he does split the two Williams drivers as Powdy's into the pits. What can Atlas Copo do? As we got a, I believe Roygard coming to the line next. Obviously Roygard just up ahead of Atlas Copo. Atlas Copo runs so far wide, and that is going to be a session over and done with. Evil Chris is invalidated, so he's not improving. Roygard through Parabolica, and this is going to be an improvement. I don't think so. No, he's miles off his time. So there we go. It is Dan who is on pole position here in Monza, with Yaham alongside him on the front row. Over 2 tenths of a second, 2 3/4 of a tenth of a second. between Dan and Yaham on the front row. Championship leader Yellow Gleason in third with Charlie in fourth. Now this could also be good for Charlie, because Charlie is obviously he's a bit off, but you never know what can happen in the final 3 races. Charlie could really thrust himself into a championship battle as well. Dylan in 5th, Powdy in 6th, Atlas Corporal 7th, Maximum Attack in 8th, Legend in 9th, Sidegate in 7th. Then outside the top 10 we have Evil Chris, Roy God, Preb, Great Elmo, Di, Miles and Siege, who unfortunately wasn't able to set that time. I believe Siege joined pretty late into qualifying, if I remember correctly. So that will wrap up qualifying here. Charlie in the chat saying Dan will win, I reckon, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes. Well, that's the thing. It's one thing to do it in qualifying, it's a whole nother thing to do it in the race itself. And of course you never know the runs that people are going to get down in towards turn 1. It is a long approach down towards turn 1, so we could be seeing the likes of Charlie and Yellow Gleason. If they get a good start, maybe they could end up challenging for the lead into, and we go in to, I believe will be the formation lap, but we might be going straight to those 5 red lights. We'll have to wait and see, of course. And these guys looking at the strategies. We should be seeing medium tyres for around 12 laps, then switching on to the hards for the remaining 15. But here we go. It is 5 red lights and away we go. So Dan does not get a good start, and he's going to get absolutely swamped on the run down into turn 1. Yet Dan getting a big wobble, and he's dropping all the way down into 7th as we go into the Retafilio, and that is Atlas Copo there going straight on in the background. Evil Chris having to hop across the curbs there as Dan and Sidegate wheel to wheel side by side as they come through the Curva Grande. What a horrid start for Dan, but an even worse start for Dylan McGivern. Dylan all the way down in 13th. He was up in 5th. As you got Legend on the back of Yellow Gleason, the championship leader versus Legend here for P3. But you got Powdy on the back as well. Apart from the mistake at the start, it seems like everyone getting off decently well. Maximum Attack on Maximum Attack right now as he's trying to get a move done on Sidegate. In fact, let's have a look at the tyre compounds that have been selected, and yep, there we go. The top 3 all on a set of the hard compound tyres. Legend and Powdy on a set of mediums. Dan, after that terrible start, he is on the hard compound tyres, and as long as he can try and get himself strongly within this train by here, he can try and get himself back up the order. Of course, Dan in qualifying, fantastic pace, but back up to the front. Yaham under pressure from Charlie as they run down into the Retafilio. Chicane, it is going to be Charlie around the outside, but he might have it done before the braking zone. Yes, he does. And up into the race lead goes FRL Charlie as Dan's around. Dan is around. Oh my God, it has gone horribly wrong here for LRE Dan. I have no words. Dan having an absolute shocker as, oh my God, was that as Maximum Attack absolutely gone. Obviously Evil Chris is gone as well. That's a reset the track there for Maximum Attack. Caught on the stream. My God, we are seeing mistakes creep into the drivers out here on track, and it is all looking good for this man, Yelly Gleason, the championship leader. He has his nearest championship rival 10 places behind him. LRE Dan having an absolute shocker of a first 2 laps here in Monza, but he does have 25 more laps to get himself back into this race. The question is, will he be able to do it? He is still, I mean, he's still part of the train that is for P6, so he's not completely out of it just yet. But obviously these top 5 are going to be able to break away from Sidegate even more as Charlie is pulling away from Yaham, and obviously you got Legend on a set of the mediums. He right now has the grip advantage on Yellow Gleason. It's just about when is he going to try and get a move done on Yellow Gleason. As it looks like that train from P6 down has split, as looks like Dylan and Grey Elmo have both dropped out of DRS range of the cars in front, and that allows Siege to get through on Grey Elmo. As you got Dan, a championship protagonist, was coming into tonight second place in the standings, and he has a lot of work to do if he wants to minimize the damage here tonight. But this could be not only the championship completely over for him, as you see at Atlas Coppo, they're going for a move on Great Elmo, and this will be a fantastic move from Atlas Coppo if he makes it work around the outside on the rundown into a, and he's gonna get it done, as we have a bit of a lag spike there, so hopefully it didn't look horrible on the stream. But oh my god, Charlie has gone around through Parabolica. Charlie loses the car through Parabolica. Johan back up into the race lead. Wow, so many people making so many mistakes. Charlie, the man who came into tonight's race in third place in the championship, has made a crucial mistake. Dan makes a crucial mistake, and he is now trying to carve his way back through. He gets up ahead of Atlas Coppo for P11. But both Charlie and Dan, big mistakes being made, and the real benefactor is this man, the man up in P2. Yere Gleason. His championship rivals are absolutely throwing the opportunity away to close in on him in the championship. Both of them look like they had great pace here, and they now have a recovery drive from the heavens now to do, to try and not only get something out of this race, but also to close back up to Yere Gleason, as Dylan and Roygod side by side. But Dylan's going to get boxed in, and he has to pull out of that move, and that's a smart decision there from Dylan McGivern. Of course, Dylan also had a terrible start. He was starting up in P5, dropped all the way down to P13 early on, and he's trying to make his way back up through the order. So Dylan McGivern having a nightmare start. Then Di Miles, the Welshman, my compatriot, up into P6. What a start it's been from Di Miles. He is not usually known as a guy who's up here in terms of the top 10, so it is great to see him up here, and obviously giving it a nice scrap. But yeah, there's a lot of curve riding going on here, as Dylan sees a little bit of an opportunity to try and get past Roygod after a little mistake. He's going to go around the outside of Curva Grande, which will turn to the inside for the De La Rocha chicane, and he's on the inside. Dylan's going to make that move stick, and that is fantastic there from Dylan McGivern. Up in the P7 goes the man in the Williams. As they're getting a little bit out of shape through the first of the Lesmos, and running very wide for the second Lesmo, and that's going to allow Dylan to potentially come back at him. Oh no, maximum attack is around, and I think Atlas Coppo has gone around as well on the exit of the second Lesmo. So the De La Rocha chicane, the exit has claimed maximum attack, and oh, the Evil Chris has gone there as well. Second Lesmo is causing a bit of an issue for some of these guys, as for the front two, it's all smooth sailing right now. Yaham, as Powdy gets through on Legend, and up into P3 goes Real Powdy, which is good for him, because now Powdy can try and get onto the back of Yere Gleason. If Yere Gleason makes mistakes, like we just saw just then, he went way too deep into the... Powdy is going to be closing in, as you see. Dylan McGivern is dropping down the order. I think he's had a bit of a mistake somewhere, a bit of an off, and now Di Miles has to defend from both FRL Charlie and Roygod. I think Roygod did try to take avoiding action, but he's going to lose out massively, because now he's behind Dylan McGivern. So Roygod's lost it for the first Lesmo. Roygod around. Wow. So many mistakes popping in, as here comes FRL Charlie. He's going to breeze past Di Miles. Up in the P6 goes the Mercedes man. Oh my god. both Charlie and Dai making huge mistakes there. And look at the overspeed that Dan has. Will it be team orders here? There should be team orders. I think Dai Miles needs to get out of the way of his teammate here to let him go on the attack of Charlie. But now we will see Dai Miles. Will he be able to close back up on Charlie and maybe attempt to move in towards turn number 1? He's looked to the inside. Oh, he's gone a bit deep and there's contact there between them. And look at Dan. Dan with the switchback. He's going to try and get the exit done on Charlie. He has got the exit done on Charlie. But now Dai, will he actually let his teammate go? He does let his teammate through. Oh my god. That is Alfa Romeo teamwork right there. Dai Miles absolutely making life a living hell for Charlie. And that allows Dan to absolutely capitalise and get himself up into P6. And now Dai, oh, almost loses the car, and that almost catches out Charlie. As, oh, geez, oh my god, right, we are lagging around all over the place, guys. I do apologise, as it's getting close once again. Charlie, he can't afford to stay behind Dai Miles for too much longer. Oh, Dai's lost it and he's out of the race. Dai Miles loses it on the exit of Ascari, and that has brought out the full course safety car. Yellow Gleason just missed the pit lane entry, but everyone else will benefit from this as Dan will continue on and he's going to go up. Charlie's in, Cygate in, Atlas Coppo with a drive-through penalty for speeding under the pit lane. That's heartbreaking for Atlas Coppo there, but wow. Now, once again, we have the championship leaders. First and second, Dan and Yellow Gleason. First and second, and you got Dylan McGivern right there with him. Wow, wow, wow. A set of mediums goes on for Yaham, hards for Legend, Powdy and Cygate, mediums for the Mercedes pairing of Charlie and Siege. There will be a set of hards for Roygard, and I believe there will be a set of hards for Preb, as well, as he is just coming out of the pits now. He should be overtaken by both Atlas Coppo, potentially Evil Chris as well. It's going to be close. No, Evil Chris will get ahead, and he's on a set of the soft compound tyres, so Chris there on a very alternative strategy, and probably not one I would agree with. I would probably be back into the pits, maybe chucking back on a set of hards, maybe even a set of mediums to try and go to the end of the race, because usually you see the mediums usually going about 12 laps and it gets a little bit techy after that as Dylan comes into the pits, but generally the mediums can last a bit longer. You can get a good amount of life out of the mediums. Like, I have no illusions that some of these drivers should be able to get to the end on a set of mediums. No illusions whatsoever. They should be able to do that. The top three sticking out on a set of the hard compound tyres, and of course for Yellow Gleason and Dan, they obviously, Dan especially, has been on the receiving end of a lot of these mistakes, but knows how easy it is to make mistakes around here. Probably thinks that there will be another safety car later on in the session, so Dan will probably pit under the second safety car if one was to come out, but if it doesn't, Yellow Gleason and Dan have left themselves in a bit of an awkward situation because they need to pull away enough from the likes of Cygate in 8th place, let's say. Maybe even Legend and Powdy. And if they can pull enough of a gap before making their pit stops, they'll be able to come back and maybe snag a podium. But as it currently stands, I think Yaham is a strong contender for the race win here. Maybe Dylan as well. Charlie is not one to write off either, but he has Cygate in front of him, as well as Dylan and Powdy. up ahead of him as well. So it's going to be a long day for Charlie to try and carve his way through, but definitely should be able to potentially get himself ahead of Sygate pretty sharpish. The question is, will he be able to get himself ahead of Dylan and Powdy as easily as that, as Siege is into the pits again? So one of the Mercedes coming back into the pits is going to lose out a spot to Roygod. And he's chucked on a fresh set of mediums. So there we go, fresh tyres for Siege. That's what he's thinking. He's only going to lose one spot, but he is definitely thinking a little bit more tyre life should be a little bit better for me come late in this race. As Evo Chris is in the pits, Charlie has left the session apparently, so absolute heartbreak for Charlie. I will try and send him another invite to try and get him back in ASAP, so don't worry Charlie, I do have you with the invite once I am able to find your name. And apparently I cannot, I can't find you. I legit cannot find you, Charlie. I have actually gone through and actually typed your name out, searched on PSN and asked for your name, but I cannot find you whatsoever. But you have rejoined. Oh no, oh no. Charlie's AI has come into the pit lane just as he rejoins the session. Wow. Oh my god, that is heartbreaking. He's chucked on the 7-lap old hards. Oh no. This is... wow. There is going to be some strong words, because now not only is Charlie not on the tyres that he would assume that he could get to the end on that, but Charlie now absolutely completely fuming with the hard compound tyres that he just took off. He was on mediums, he was sitting in I believe he was up in P10, maybe even P9. I'm going to quickly have a little scroll back and just quickly verify. Yeah, Charlie was up in P9. He was in P9 on a set of medium compounded tyres. It was looking good for Charlie. Lags out the session. His AI comes into the pits, puts on a set of the hard compound tyres, 7-lap old. Now he's got a lot of work to do to get himself up into a podium position. He was a good shout for the podium before his AI put him into the pits, but the safety car is coming in now, so Jelle Gleeson will set the pace. He will be the virtual Burt Milder, as Dan will be looking to make sure that he doesn't lose contact with Jelle Gleeson at the start. Internet connection currently not sufficient to broadcast gameplay. That is not what we like to see up in the top. The top right, that is not what we like to see at all, but we will persevere, we will continue on as Jelle Gleeson will get us going underway, and he's caught Dan a little bit napping here. Elmo, oh my god, makes a big mistake, but Yaham cannot overtake him until after the line. That's going to open things up for Legend. Can Legend have a go at Yaham? Oh, Yaham's going to try it on Elmo. Elmo's going to defend. They're going to be side by side going down in towards turn 1. Yaham's going to outbreak him. Meanwhile, in behind you got Dylan and Powdy side by side, wheel to wheel. And it looks like, oh, Dylan just about gets ahead of Powdy there. So Dylan up into P6, trying to make his medium compound tyres come into use ASAP. Now here goes a Legend looking down the inside of the De La Rocha chicane on Elmo, and he's going to get that done smooth as you like down the inside, and that's going to open things up now for Dylan. Dylan looking to the inside of the Lesmos. Elmo falling through the field as he has managed to get that move done. Down the inside goes Dylan up in the P5. Meanwhile, look at this ahead. Yaham needs to stick within DRS of Dan and Yellow Gleason. Yellow Gleason not using ERS. Dan has had to use a bit to keep with Yellow Gleason. And Yaham, obviously, he now needs to use a bit to try and get back within DRS. But, oh no, it's maximum attack out of this race through Ascari. And that is another safety car. Now, we should be seeing everyone into the pits now. That didn't pit under the first safety car. To put on a set of the medium compound tyres. Yes, here goes Yellow Gleason into the pits. Here goes Dan into the pits. And that's a good thing for Charlie, because Charlie can now come into the pits as well. So everyone... oh, apart from Elmo. Elmo did not come into the pits, and that is a strange decision, as Maximum Attack has left the session. Obviously, he's not... particularly happy with what has gone on there. Exit of Ascari can catch the best of us out. But now Yellow Gleason, Dan and Charlie on a fresh set of medium compound tyres could potentially get themselves back into this race. Obviously, we got Elmo, who's on 12 lap old hards. He's going to be absolutely struggling to keep these guys behind. And I'm not sure what the strategy is for Elmo. Maybe he's expecting another safety car to come out to save him. But Elmo, that was a big mistake by not coming into the pits here. Meanwhile, Yaham and Dylan McGivern are first and second. Now, based on what we've seen so far this season, we're in familiar territory where we've seen both of these drivers in these positions and lose it under the pressure of being in this position. So, are we going to see it again? Can Yaham and Dylan keep themselves composed to potentially take a win here tonight? I don't know. Normally we have Tam in the chat, and he's normally the guy who comes in and predicts what we don't really want to say on stream. He comes in and predicts the balls. So, I mean, Tam, if you're watching right now, come through with your predictions. We have Dylan and Yaham first and second. We are under safety car, lap 14 of 27. We got Yellow Gleason and Dan first and second in the Drivers' Championship. They are together on track, both on fresh medium compound of tyres. We have Evil Chris and Siege 4 lap old medium tyres. We got 6 lap old hard tyres on Powdy and Roygard. 13 lap old hard on Elmo, who's still yet to make a pit stop. And then we have Dylan on 5 lap old mediums, Yaham on 6 lap old mediums. However, I believe we've only had one lap where these two have actually put racing laps onto their tyres. They've actually gone for it, so we should be seeing the safety car coming in this lap, and we'll get going once again for lap 15. Safety car is coming in this lap. Yaham will set the pace. And you can see how close Dylan and Yaham again. They're getting close to each other. I don't like how close they're getting. To me, it seems like a bit of front wing damage, a 5-second time penalty waiting to happen between these two with how close they're getting. So hopefully they don't get any closer than this. But you can see Yaham has absolutely gone and left Dylan absolutely napping. But the one who's been left napping most of all has been Elmo. Absolutely caught snoozing on the restart, 2 seconds behind Dylan now on the restart. But now we look at Powdy as he's going to look to try and make this move on Elmo, using his ERS, trying to have a look down the inside in towards the Retafilio, as he's going to outbrake Elmo down in towards turn 1. Retafilio, and on the exit, yes, he has got that. Roygod with a lovely little switchback, going to get through as well. Roygod up into P4. Siege swoops down the inside of the Curva Grande, and he's going to get through and up into P5. Elmo losing out massively at the start there, and he drops down the field. Meanwhile, the championship leader, Yellow Gleason, going to get the move done on Evil Chris, as Evil Chris going to try and hang it around the outside. And he is going to get that move done, but now Dan going to be able to follow Yellow Gleason through? I don't think he will, not just yet. Meanwhile, up ahead, Dylan all over the back of Yaham, and that is a fantastic slipstream to have for Dylan. He's going to draw alongside, perhaps. No, he backs out of it. Meanwhile, Yellow Gleason's going to get the move done on Great Elmo. So now the championship leader has 2 cars in between him and Dan. Meanwhile, Elmo, a terrible run out of Parabolica, and he's going to lose out to his teammate and Dan here. As Dylan makes the overtake for the race lead up ahead. As, oh my god, Dan! And sorry, Yellow Gleason and Evil Chris were side by side in a big contact between the pair of them, as looked like Evil Chris just went way too deep into turn 1, making contact with Yellow Gleason, as it looks like Yaham has managed to get back through on Dylan. This is a nice little ding dong that we've got going on there. Powdy's around. Powdy is around, and he's dropped down the order. Real Powdy losing out real positions here in this race. Yellow Gleason and Dan making their way through the field. Of course, as it currently stands, the train that they are in is 3 seconds behind Dylan and Yaham. But for Yellow Gleason and Dan, whoever finishes ahead of the other one is just going to make the championship a little bit more interesting. If Dan can get himself ahead of Yellow Gleason here, maybe put a few more cars in between them, he could potentially have a decent point haul over Yellow Gleason in terms of the championship, and makes the final 2 races a little bit more exciting. DRS is now activated here on lap 17. Yaham still leading the way from Dylan McGivern in second. Roygod is holding on to P3 for the time being. Siege in 4th. Then of course we've got the championship leader Yellow Gleason, his championship rival Dan in 6th. And just behind that, you got Legend, who is in 7th, trying to make his way up the order. Evil Chris trying to keep hold of positions in 8th. Charlie, after what happened with him lagging out the session and his AI coming into the pits, he is trying to get himself back up the order. He's down in P9. Elmo plummeting through the field as you got, that's Powdy around again in the back. Powdy is not having a good time of it. Siege with DRS closing in on Roygod. He's going to back out of going for any potential move into Ascari. Yellow Gleason takes it nice and calm through Ascari, and Dan trying to keep the championship leader under pressure. As Dylan McGivern looking for a good run out of Parabolica, does get the run, will have DRS as Siege in the background is going to try, and oh my god, we've got 3 wide in the background. Sorry, I had to cut onto this as Yellow Gleason looks to make a double overtake into turn number 1. Absolute perfection there from the championship leader, as he is going to get through on 2 cars and put these 2 cars in between himself and his championship rival LRE Dan. That was fantastic from Yellow Gleason, but here comes Dan down the inside of the Della Roger on Roygod, and he's going to get that move done, and up into P5 goes Dan. And now he's on the back of Siege, so this could be important. If Siege holds up Dan enough to allow Yelagleeson to break away, it's going to be an interesting one. And now Dylan, oh, it's just not close enough going into the Ascari. But look at that, Yelagleeson is pulling away from... Oh my god! Massive lag spike there. Huge. Absolutely huge in what I'm seeing going on right now, guys. Huge lag issues. It's all kicking off here. The internet is having an absolute mare. But now Dan will fly past Siege for P4. Yelagleeson sets the fastest lap of the race in fresh air. 1.2 seconds the gap between Yelagleeson and Dan. Dan was definitely quicker in qualifying, but is he quicker here in the race? Lap 19 of 27. Yaham still leading the way ahead of Dylan, both on aging medium tyres now. They're going to be caught by the likes of Yelagleeson and Dan. The question is, who is going to be the quicker out of these two? The championship protagonists. Who is going to be the one that gains points on the other? As Dylan closes in, but he's not close enough to go for an overtake. And it looks like Dan there with an adventurous line through Ascari, shall we say, as Dylan all over the back of Yaham. This should be the overtake for the race lead incoming, as Dylan, yep, he's just going to fly past. He's just going to fly past DRS, as Dan now sets the fastest lap, and of course he has DRS on Yelagleeson, so he's going to draw away from Siege, who's going to be under pressure from Evil Chris and Legend pretty soon. Yellow flag in the background, that is for Roygard, who has gone around, and the gap is 2.4 seconds between Yaham and Yelagleeson. So now the gap is closing between the front two and the championship leaders. As Yaham's looking to try and get this move done on Dylan McGivern. Unable to get it done so far though, as Yaham with DRS is going to close in, but he's not going to be close enough. Dan getting close to the back of Yelagleeson as well. A poor run through Ascari though for Dan, and that's going to affect him massively. Well, we see Yaham retake the race lead down the pit straight with DRS as we come on to lap 21 of 27. It is Dylan McGivern leading the way from Yaham. The gap is 2.2 seconds back from Yaham to Yelagleeson, who's just been overtaken by Dan as they go wheel to wheel in towards the Retafilio, and Dan is through and up into a podium position. Wow, wow, wow. Dan trying to get himself up the order as Evil Chris has retired. I believe he came into the pit lane to retire, but Evil Chris out of the session. I tell you what is getting interesting now, as it looks like Dan, with a fantastic run out of the Lesmos, should be able to hold himself clear of Yelagleeson for the time being, as you have Yaham and Dylan up ahead, potentially going to be battling each other enough that these guys can close up in behind. Yaham, you saw it, he had a little peek down the inside into the parabolica, but he's just going to sit back, he's just going to wait. But that little peak, he's definitely lost himself some time. Of course, these guys on 13 and 14 lap old tyres versus the 9 lap old mediums in behind. Yelagleeson not close enough, but This is what they need now, as Dylan and Yaham battle it out, and now look at Dan close up. The gap was 2.8 is now 1.9. That's what the battling does. Dylan once again back behind Yaham, as it looks like Dan is slowly creeping away from Yelagison. Obviously Yelagison with as he gets a big snap there, so he's going to lose a lot of time to Dan, but as previously mentioned, that DRS is going to keep Yelagison with Dan for the time being. But it's these two, how much are they battling? How much are their tyres falling off? That's the question. 1.4 is the gap. I don't think Dan will be close enough for DRS this time around, but next time around he should have the assistance of DRS. Look how much he gains through the corners now. It's almost a tenth through Parabolica that he's just gained. And now we're seeing these medium tyres on Yaham and Dylan begin to fall away, and it's going to fall into the clutches of Dan and Yelagison. And oh my god, we are in for an absolute climax of a final few laps here. Yaham currently leading the way on 15 lap old mediums, with Dylan on 14 lap old mediums in behind. Then just outside of DRS range we have Dan 10 lap old mediums, Yelagison on 10 lap old mediums also. Now we are going to see in this middle sector just how much the grip on these tyres is going to help. Oh, the exit of Lesmo 2 there, that was very, very astute there, as you saw the time game through Lesmo 2 for Dan and through Ascari, and Dan's done it. Dan's within DRS of Dylan. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a four-way scrap for the race lead now, as we go on to lap 24 of 27. Yaham, Dylan, Dan, Yelagison, 2 in the championship drivers championship scrap. We have 2 Williams teammates, obviously commanding lead in the constructors currently, could put it out of reach completely here tonight, as it looks like Preb has gone around in the back. Right, we're going to have to stay on board with this battle up at the front, because the top 4 are all within DRS range of each other. Right now Dan is gaining points on Yelagison in terms of the Drivers' Championship. He'll want to gain more. He has the tyres that he can launch an attack on Dylan and Yaham eventually, so it's a case of when does Dan go for it. Of course, with lack of ERS on Dan currently, he is definitely going to be thinking more, conserve a bit of ERS first and then attack. Oh, maybe he's not. He is using a little bit on the exit there, and you can see Yelagison is just dropping a little bit further back through Parabolica now. The grip will be there for Dan, but will the overspeed? He's gaining, but he's not gaining enough. Dylan goes to the inside and defends. Dan's going to try and outbrake and go around the outside. Not going to work though. He's going to try for a switchback. Oh, Dan making a big mistake, and he's now under pressure from Yelagison, who's going to look around the outside of the Curva Grande. Oh, this is close stuff. Dan with that one mistake, and he has lost out to his championship rival, and he has no ERS to really fight back. Now we're going to see, is Dylan going to move out of the way of his teammate? Because this is good in terms of the constructors' points, obviously, for both of the Williams. The Drivers' Championship though, are we going to see Dylan be the number 2 driver and pull out of the way of his teammate to try and go for the win? Dan, that one mistake, it cost him everything. As you see Yaham trying to break the toe to Dylan. 17 lap old mediums. Oh, Dan is giving it everything. He knows he made one big mistake. So it looks like C just made a mistake and he's dropped down the order. Dan not close enough on Yellow Geese. Can he get a good run out of the red video? No, it looks like Yellow Geese just has the edge on that traction zone right there. Lap 26 of 27. We're on the penultimate lap. Any one of these top four can take the win here. Yaham flashing red. That is going to be absolute dinner plates right now for Dylan McGivern, but Dylan's tyres are going off. Is he going to get out of the way of his teammate and try and hold up Dan? Because Dan looks like, in this middle sector, Dan looks like he's the quicker driver. As Yelagison is going to use ERS. He's going to close in on his teammate. I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen right here, right now. Down the main straight. Will Dylan get out of the way of his teammate? Yes, he is. He's going to allow his teammate to overtake him. Dylan playing number 2 driver right here. Oh, there's a hit in the back. Dan tries to follow Yelagison through, and he has followed him through. Oh my God, Dan absolutely... He sent that little tap on the rear for Yelagison from Dan, saying, oh no, Williams teamwork here today. I ain't having none of that. And now Dan, obviously no DRS right now for... Oh, Yelagison just gets back within that 1 second window on Yaham. I was going to say that... what's called Yelagison with no DRS could be there for the taking for Dan, but it's not to be. As we go through Ascari for the final time, Yaham is out there in front. Dan picks up a 3-second time penalty. Oh my God, Dan has absolutely just, he's lost it right at the end. He's lost it right at the end. Dan with a 3-second time penalty, and that is going to massively hindering. So not only is he going to lose a spot to Dylan, he's going to lose a spot to Charlie as well. As we cross the line, is Yaham going to take the victory ahead of Yelagison in second. Dylan will come home in third, Charlie in fourth. Dan with that late penalty comes home in fifth. Legend in 6th. Atlas Copo, impressive performance in 7th. Sygate with an impressive performance in 8th. Powdy in 9th. Not happy with his race. Siege is currently going to collect 7th place. In terms of the fastest lap, I mean, Roygaard got the fastest lap and Powdy leads the session immediately. He's not happy whatsoever. But Siege will cross the line in P10. Elmo comfortably ahead of Roygaard, so Elmo should come home in P11. Roygaard will come home in P12. Wow. A absolute climax end to that race. Dylan was literally the Valtteri Bottas. He was the Valtteri Bottas. He moved out of the way for Yelagison to try and gain him some more points on Dan, but Dan wasn't having any of it. He sent it with Yelagison to try and get through, to stick with his championship rival, but right at the end, through Ascari, it was a 3-second time penalty that cost Dan massively, and that is a huge amount of points to lose out this late in the season. But that man, Yaham, I believe his second win of the season. It usually goes all wrong for the Williams driver, but today it went all right. It went all right for the McLaren driver for Yarham, and it's a double Williams podium, so I believe that could potentially seal up the Constructors' Championship going into the penultimate round. But we'll run you through the order one more time. It is Yarham who takes victory ahead of Yellow Gleason in second place, who extends his championship lead. It is Dylan in third, a double podium for the Williams pairing. Could be the Constructors, signed, sealed and delivered. Charlie with a great comeback drive up into fourth. Dan, the late 3-second time penalty cost him a podium, and massively in terms of the Drivers' Championship. He comes down in fifth. Legend in sixth. Atlas Cobo in seventh. Sygate will come home in eighth. Powdy in ninth, and Siege rounding out the top 10. Then Elmo in 11th. Roygard will finish 12th, but does pick up the fastest lap of the race with a 21.4. Our non-finishers: Preb, Evil Chris, Maximum Attack and Die Miles. And that is going to bring an end to round number 9 here at the Italian Grand Prix in the Masters League Formula 2. And of course, next week we will be travelling to Sao Paulo for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It'll be round 10 of 11 next time out. I will definitely be here for it, as we could potentially see the championship decided in terms of the drivers. We could definitely see that happen in Brazil. The Constructors, obviously I don't know off the top of my head, I believe the Constructors could be wrapped up here tonight. I believe it might have been wrapped up. If it hasn't, we should be seeing both championships on the line going into Brazil next week. But until then, guys, I have been Ivor Bryn Mike. You have been watching League Racing TV, the Masters League Formula 2. And until next week, guys, goodbye.